Hello, Jamie Novak here, your bite-sized living specialist, and thank you for joining me. We are in the midst of an 8-part series, and today we're on topic number 6, and that is that we really, we fear that the newly organized space quite honestly, it's not going to meet our standards. Maybe we've read some magazines, seen some articles or advertisements for these fantastically organized spaces with these wonderful storage opportunities and furniture that's like really not budget friendly, but it looks amazing. And you think, oh, if only I had this, amazing mudroom with all these little cubbies, all my clutter problems would be solved. And so you think, well, I just want it to be done right. This is when something as simple as your linen closet, should I fold the towels or should I roll the towels, can become this, like, you need a spreadsheet where you're going to write the pros and the cons of either way, and maybe you're going to measure it out and figure out, which way can I get more towels in per the square inch, and how does so-and-so do it compared to someone else, and you think, well, I want to do it just right. So if you kind of can relate to this sense of waiting to do it until you have enough time to do it just right, that it's going to meet your high standard, you have this expectation of how it's going to look when it's done, you probably fall in the perfectionist category. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, Jamie, that just sounds ridiculous. There's absolutely no way I could be a perfectionist, because if I were a perfectionist, I wouldn't be able to stand the piles of clutter around my space. But here's the thing. A lot of us who fall in that perfectionist category, the reason we have so many piles is because we're waiting to deal with the piles when we have enough time and we can do it just right. And I've got something to tell you. You might want to sit down. That time's not going to happen. It's just simply not going to happen where you're going to have a big block of time that you can dedicate solely to the task of organizing, where you can get it to be exactly right. And here's the other thing. If that were to happen, chances are something's going to change, and all of a sudden your beautifully organized space that was just so needs to make an adjustment. For example, maybe you're thinking, well, I know, I'll get one of those really expensive, closet inserts, and I'll have all of my little cubbies and containers and drawers and hooks, and it's going to be great. So you wait until you can design it just perfectly. Maybe you get a couple of companies in, you think of all the possible scenarios, and maybe you actually get that closet system, only to then be gifted an oversized tote bag or extra high boots, and now they don't fit. And now you're completely disappointed because you spent all this time and money and planning, and you think, oh, I should have thought of that scenario. So this is where we really bring in that fear of not being perfect, and stepping back for a moment and thinking, you know what? I'm really going to approach this in a way that I'll be a little more flexible. If you're flexible, you won't break. You'll simply bend. And, bending is much better. So the idea here is just that it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be good. And if you struggle with that, you might want to think of your first organizing pass through any space as a rough draft, a first step. You're just going to get it started, and you can go back and perfect it in your spare time. Just knowing that you've got that perfecting it in your spare time in your back pocket a lot of times allows us to move forward and say, I know it's not perfect, but I'll get back to it later, and I'll come back and perfect it just right. So if you're feeling like that perfectionism is getting in the way of you getting organized, now you've got some tools and tricks up your sleeve to get in there and get it done so that you can have a space that you'll be proud of. And it may not be perfect, but we're looking for progress. Well, this has been Jamie Novak, your bite-sized living specialist, and until next time, I'm wishing you a clutter-free day.